What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new tech GENUS support that just got revealed coming out of Savage Strike. Looks like Konami definitely wants to give a whole lot of synchro support in this booster set. And, you know, TG are technically a synchro archetype. I know that Shiranui are also getting support in this set. I'll talk about that in a different video, but I'm going to focus on TG in this video. And it's always been kind of ironic with tech GENUS because Konami designed the archetype to be like super aggressive, hyper synchro. If you look at some of the synchro monsters, you know, TG Hyper Librarian, a synchro spam card. You even got like TG Halberd Cannon, which is a freaking level 12, you know, equivalent to like Quasar and whatnot. But the most successful versions of TG Stun, I'm talking about even the version that ended up winning a YCS, they were always like skill drain stun decks. In fact, that's the variant that I used when I top 8 at a regional, and no one never really played the synchro monsters because the stun version was just way more effective when all the monsters floated and Torrential Tribute was at like 2. It was just way more effective to run TG as a skill drain deck with Beast King and Thunder King Ryo, Horn of the Phantom Beast, and all that good stuff. And these new cards are definitely interesting. The first card, the main deck monster, I absolutely love. The Link monster I'm not so high on, but I'll talk about that momentarily. Anyways, TG Screw Serpent. This is a level 4 water sea serpent monster. It's a tuner. Let's see, 1300 attack and 500 defense. Both the first and second effects are hard once per turn. First effect, if this card is normal / special summoned, ooh, I love the special summon part, you can target one level 4 or lower TG monster in your graveyard, except another copy of Screw Serpent. Special summon it, but its effects are negated. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one TG monster you control. All of that is the cost. Have it either gain or lose one level until the end of this turn. Okay, so I think really the first effect is the important effect. It's basically a wolf bark, or I guess you could call it a Blackwing Blizzard. I absolutely love this effect. I really like the fact that there don't really seem to be any restrictions on what you can actually do with the monster. I mean, you're basically just summoning this and it works on normal or special summon and it can't miss timing, and then you're getting a monster back from the graveyard, and it doesn't like limit you to, you can only use it for TG monsters, or you can only use TG monster, you know, special summons for the rest of the turn or something dumb like that. You can just beat your opponent down. If you get like a Rush Rhino, you can just attack with it. You can instantly go into a rank 4 XC if you get a Rush Rhino back, which that's very important. Now that Exiton Knight is back, that can be incredible. And I like the fact that since this card is a tuner, it also allows you to use Rush Rhino and, you know, like a werewolf to just instantly synchro. And especially considering that this set seems to have a lot of amazing generic synchro monsters, you can instantly, if you bring back a Rush Rhino, you can just go straight into, you know, Borreload Savage Dragon. You can go into Psyframe Lord Omega. If you bring back the TG Werewolf, you can instantly go into like the Cyberse Quantum Dragon. And I just really like the fact that this can be a one card synchro, link summon, or XC summon. Like being able to go into all of those without any type of restrictions other than not being able to get another copy of itself, that's definitely pretty good. The fact that your TG monsters effects are negated on field is irrelevant. None of their effects really matter on the field. That's the reason people used to play skill drain in the deck anyways. Second effect is, I mean, it's okay. I don't really think it's going to be all that important. I really wish that it would have been a Rhoda effect for another TG monster. Then this card would have been like, oh my god, mind-blowingly great. But I already think that this is a really good card. I think that TG players would probably run 3 of this already. Then we have their new Link monster, which again, I'm not so high on, mainly because it's a Link 3, and that's like the biggest kind of deterrent for me because TG monsters don't float when you Link summon with them or when you synchro summon them. That's kind of another reason why people ran it as an anti-meta deck. Anyways, TG Trident Launcher. This is a Link 3 Earth Machine type monster. 2200 attack. The Link points all belong to you because they're bottom, left, bottom, right, and then straight down to the bottom. First effect is the hard once per turn, and actually, hold on, the materials are 2+ effect monsters, including a TG tuner. That's fine because TGs have multiple tuners in the archetype. TG Screw Serpent, the card we just talked about, is a tuner. TG Striker is a really good card. That's a tuner. And then also TG Wonder Magician, our synchro, or one of the synchro monsters in the archetype, that's also a tuner. There's also TG Cyber Magician, but that card's kind of jank. Nobody uses that shit, so don't worry about that one. The first effect is the hard once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon 3 TG monsters, 1 each from your hand, deck, and graveyard to zones this card points to in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except TG monsters. Effect number 2, your opponent cannot target TG synchro monsters this card points to with card effects. Okay. To me, this kind of seems like it doesn't really do what TGs do best, but it kind of seems like it does what Konami wants them to do. It seems like it's designed to kind of help TGs be able to synchro spam, but that was never really what they were great at, because when you synchro spam with TGs, you don't get any of your resources back. I get it, you pump 3 monsters into this and, you ideally get 3 monsters out of it. And I actually, if this card was a Link 2, it would have been mind-blowingly better, because you would have been able to go into it instantly just off the normal or special summon of a Screw Serpent. Screw Serpent gets a monster back, boom, there's the Link summon. And I kind of understand you can use things like TG Striker, special summon it from your hand, and then use Screw Serpent, there's 3 monsters. Or you can go Screw Serpent, you can bring back a monster from your graveyard, you can special summon a Werewolf from your hand, and there's 3 monsters. The problem is, this card doesn't really, I don't feel like it's worth a 3-card investment. Okay, you get 3 TG monsters on the field, but, now what? They all get summoned in defense mode, so they can't do any damage. Now, if they all got summoned in attack mode, it'd be different, because I'd be like, whoa, I could get, 3 Rush Rhinos and maybe try to OTK my opponent. That'd be kind of cool. And don't get me wrong, I get what Konami wants you to do with this card. I just don't think that it's going to work. Konami wants you to, summon your 3 TG monsters and then synchro summon for another TG monster, and then I guess that's the end of your turn. But my problem is, okay, so you just summon a Wonder Magician, pop your opponent's back row, and then just pass, or you attack for 4,000 damage and then pass? Come on now. Today's Yu-Gi-Oh decks would shit on you for doing something like that. A deck like Altergeist or a deck like Trickstar, Sky Strikers, those decks will fucking destroy a board like that doesn't have any type of interaction, that doesn't have any disruption for their opponents. I don't understand how something like that is going to really work. What this card really should have had is it should have had some type of negation, maybe at the cost of blowing up one of the TG monsters that it points to, because then you'd be able to activate a Rush Rhino or a Werewolf during your end phase. Those monsters would replace themselves and you get a negation at the same time. You really wouldn't be losing any resources, and since this card doesn't gain any attack or anything, you really wouldn't be losing anything off of your board. The only way that this card makes sense being a Link 3, in my opinion, is if Konami has a really incredible synchro monster that's also yet to be revealed, which I think is a possibility. If Konami gives us something like a legendary 6 Samurai Shion that you can instantly make after you summon this card, okay, then I take back everything I say. Then this card makes a lot of sense. But without this having any type of stun, I'm just not a fan of it. The reason that I'm a big fan of Screw Serpent is because Screw Serpent lets you go into basically any type of monster that you need for that situation. If you need to open up some zones, go for a Link 2. If you need to take a card out of your opponent's hand, go for Omega. If you have a Link monster in your graveyard, you need a little bit of negation and you need a beater, go for Borreload Savage Dragon. If you need a Grand Mole, type of bounce monster, go for Cyber's Quantum Dragon. I like that. The fact that it can be, it can answer multiple situations. This card is much more linear, and I like the fact that it gives you 3 monsters, but I just don't really think you can do anything after that. So whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. If there is more TG support, of course, I will talk about it. I am really crossing my fingers, because if TGs end up getting something like 6 Samurai Shion for TG, that would be the perfect monster to kind of pair this with. That would be perfect for the archetype. Anyways, now I'm just wishful thinking. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.